Foot pedal raffle, we got 3 of them. What do they call?
Slip
Slip
fins.
fins, sorry. We'll do the IST one, and then we'll figure out the carpools getting to the pool after lunch, okay? So I know everybody's gonna be hungry and get ready to go, but please, please, please stay so we can do all those things at the end. With no further ado, Russell Mark.
All right.
Clap.
Okay. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to be here. And yeah, thank you to NISCA and Kevin and Eve for coordinating this and making this happen. And I look forward to more collaborations with NISCA. Also, thanks to ASCA, obviously a big part of my career and a big supporter of what we do here as coaches. And thank you to the sponsor of this talk, which is Arena, who they obviously don't have a booth here or a table, but a great supporter and partner that I've worked with for a very, very long time. And yeah, if you need team supplies or anything and apparel or looking for a team deal, Arena is a great option, and yeah, I can help you get connected. So yeah, thank you to everybody, and most importantly, thank you to you all for being here and taking the time out of your daily, weekly routine to make time for this conference. So just going over kind of what we have going on, what I'm planning. Basically, this hour will be most important technical aspects of the 4 strokes. There's a pool session at Northview scheduled from 1:30 to 4:30. I was just chatting with Bill Dorencott, and we're thinking of probably just going 2 hours. I think that's probably what a lot of people have capacity for. And if we have our swimmers there, I don't know if it's same group of swimmers, but especially if it's same group of swimmers, I'm sure they're not interested in being in the pool for 3 hours. And then, so yeah, we're planning on 2 hours, 1:30 to 3:30. I think between the 2 of us, we will cover starts, turns, kicks. I don't know if, I think Bill will do some freestyle and body line and just quick start kind of stuff and kicking, and I might do starts and turns. So that's kind of what we have running through. I'm going to focus mostly on the strokes here. And basically, yeah, obviously in terms of high school swimming, in terms of short course racing, I think, yeah, the most important things that I'm looking for qualities in effective short course and speed is tempo. And I'm looking for a tempo that is, I want to see good top end tempo, but it's not just spinning out and like maximizing your tempo from the start. It's trying to be, it's a tempo that is sustainable as well. We're going to look at some numbers through this, but I would say I want to have a technique that unlocks tempo. And basically, short course racing all about kicks too. So kick technique and kick tempo. And so we're, like I said, mostly going to focus on just the strokes here. If I get through this fast enough, I might show a little bit of dolphin kick stuff as well. But basically, I mean, I talked about those qualities, and ultimately, I think technique is what unlocks it. It opens up the opportunities with tempo, and only really good technique does. And so, ultimately, I want to see technique first and foremost. You layer on tempo with that, and most effective tempo is with the most effective technique. So let's just look at this, and we'll start with freestyle. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, just because, I mean, there were about a dozen coaches in my stroke school on Tuesday, and I'm talking an hour per stroke, and I could easily go more, and we're going 10 to 15 minutes per stroke. So this is the speed run version of, I would say, what is most essential for racing skills. And I'm looking for good catch, and I'm looking for good catch set up with the perfect entry position and the setup for the catch, which is an appropriate amount of rotation which is mostly on more on your stomach than you're on your side. I say 25 to 35 degrees. I'm not talking degree, like exact degree amounts to athletes, but it's more just to, I would say further reinforce that to you as coaches, what we're looking for. And it's, you were saying at most you are rotated down 25, 35 degrees, which 45 degrees is halfway between on your stomach and your side. You are less than halfway from onto your side. So you're more on your stomach, you're on your side. The arm, you could see at this position, it is extended and rotated forward. And the shoulder staying next to the cheek. The hand is staying next to the face when rotated and extended forward. And that top right image. And I'm not saying I want to see people spinning and just crawling through. You're still extending forward. And you're just, I would say you're just not getting all the way on your side to do that. You could still stretch your shoulder forward, and that's what you're aiming to do. You're still looking for length, but just not all the way into your side. And then obviously the opposite. You're not just crawling all the way through and staying just very, very flat. Ultimately, from that position, we're going down to this, what I would call the power triangle. Basically, the elbow is bent out to the side. The elbow is the widest part of the stroke, and it's wider than the shoulder and wider than the hand, and the hand is still in line with the shoulder. So entering in front of the shoulder, extending in front of the shoulder, then the hand comes down, and you look at the forearm, it is angled not just downward, it's not just a vertical forearm. It is vertical, and it is also directed inward. I do think we need to be specific about that. The term early vertical forearm, it's a great descriptor from a side view angle when you're looking at a stroke, but it is not the complete, I would say, position and the best position when you're talking about, the full catch. And I'm looking for alignment with the back. So, I don't want to see, and a lot of this alignment, so basically I want to see opposite shoulder, the shoulder of the pulling arm, and the elbow, all to be in a very, very close line. And if the elbow is too wide, then you're out of alignment. If the forearm is vertical, you're probably a little bit too wide as well, and you're out of alignment. So ultimately, we're looking at these positions that I mentioned: entering, extending in line with the shoulder, rotating forward slightly. I talk about, like, when I mentioned degrees to you, but when I'm talking to athletes, especially little kids, I'm talking about your high school age athletes too, for sure, is imagine wearing pants and you're rotating your pockets of your pants forward. That's all you need to do, and to have the appropriate and optimal amount of rotation. And this goes for sprint or distance. And then, as I mentioned, just some of the descriptors: your hands are catching at shoulder width, your elbows are bending a little bit wider. Here's a few video examples of what this is. And we're looking at sprinters here. Obviously, we're looking at speed. I think we are all on the same page. We don't want to see an entry that's in front of the head that's too narrow. If you have an entry that's too narrow, you spend time coming out wider. We want to pull and catch in line with the shoulder, so we want to enter in front of the shoulder. And you see this athlete, this is Cam McAvoy, the fastest person in history in the 50 freestyle. And you see where his entry positions are. And you see where that extension is. And you see that his face is visible the entire time. And this is what we're looking for in an awesome sprint stroke. You look at where his hands are pulling too. Not just the catch, but follow through with the catch. It is basically, he's pulling along the rails of his body. He's tracing the side of his body as he's pulling through. And the hand gets a little bit more narrow underneath basically at the very back end of the stroke. But this is where you want it to be. This is where you want the stroke to be and to be taking place, to be most efficient and not wasting any movements. We're looking here at full speed sprint freestyle. This is, I would say, regular speed just gives you an idea of how quickly, or just obviously we know how quickly some of this takes place. But it just puts it into perspective. But let me slow this down. And this is, again, an awesome example of, I would say, pretty perfect sprint freestyle. This is Tori Husk. I've had the great privilege of being able to work with Tori since she was 16 or 17, moving into her first Olympics in 2021, and then working with the Stanford women's swim team for the last 3 years and three seasons. And yeah, you look at Tori in her entry positions, you look at where her elbows are bending out a little bit wider, and then you look where her hands are pulling. And yeah, this is, again, same things. You could see the amount of rotation she's getting. It is mostly, I mean, you could say it's pretty flat. It's definitely a lot flatter than, someone, I would say, traditional, how freestyle was traditionally taught with a lot of rotation. This is, again, full speed. An awesome male sprinter. This is Jack Alexi, who many of you know. Jack is, the fastest American ever, and awesome short course and long course. And just look at those entry positions and look at the catch. We're talking sprint freestyle here, and it used to be people would always think that sprinters don't have as strong of a catch position, but let's look at it here. You see the defined catch position. You see how his elbow is bent out to the side. And I do think I obviously showed Cam and Tori and now Jack, and these are very, very specific, positions that we're going for. It's another sprint freestyler, Gigi Johnson from Stanford, and awesome NC2A swimmer, and NC2A finalist, and swims the 50 up to the 200. And I hope that all these same qualities, you're able to see them all as we're going through each of these athletes. The amount of rotation, the degree of the catch, how defined that catch position is, where the entry is, and then still shifting forward. And it's a tight rotation as moving through that. So it's like climbing a ladder basically. And climbing a ladder with the elbows bent out to the side and keeping the hands along the rails of your body, tracing the side of your body, I would say is what you're looking for. The other key part of freestyle, so obviously once you dial in the catch positions, your rotations, the other things I'm looking for in sprinting is good breath. And why improve the freestyle breath? Obviously maintaining good head and body position. I want to maintain tempo. So I don't want to see a breath that disrupts the rhythm and disrupts what you're trying to do. And then, I want to maintain, probably most importantly, maintain that catch position on your non-breathing arm. So if you're breathing to the right side, I don't want to see the left arm not being as strong and not being in that optimal catch position as you're doing that. So we obviously see, I think when we talk about a freestyle breath, we will generally talk about the head staying low. Let me slow this down. I mean, this is pretty, I would say, ideal freestyle breath in terms of the height of the breath. And everyone might preach, keeping one goggle in the water. This guy's not even sprinting. He's a 200 IMer, so this is kind of more 200 rhythm. But if you time the breath well, and if you have good head and body position, there's an opportunity. I would say, yes, not all of your athletes are going to be moving and with this kind of low head and low breath, especially if you're swimming in a crowded pool and there's lots of waves happening around. Like, it obviously makes it a little bit harder to have, but I just want to show what that opportunity is. And then, let's take a look again, maximum opportunity. The key to a good freestyle breath is turning your neck. And I would say making it a snappy head turn and being able to do it independently of the body. And so in this video, you have an athlete not breathing on the first stroke, but breathing on the second, third, and fourth stroke right there. And this is real speed. And you can see how quick it is and what that neck turn is. I mean, you just try to turn your neck in the same timing that he's doing in the video, just in your seat. And it's snapping back and forth those 3 times. And I would say, like, when I talk to athletes, like, this is the Grail technique. This is not, I would say, what everyone realistically is going to be doing, but I do think this is what we can be trying to achieve. And when I talk to athletes, it's okay if it doesn't look exactly like this, but let's try to make it a little bit better. And again, with the thought of their non-breathing arm stroke trying to be better. And so, yeah, I'm working on drills where, if I'm doing 6 kicks per side or 6 kicks per extension, or rotating not all the way on your side, but yeah, to your front pocket. So 6 kicks per front pocket, or a 6 kick switch drill. I'm getting onto that side, getting onto that front pocket, taking the breath, bringing the head back down. And so, yes, you have to be able to take the breath in a short amount of time. How do you do that? It is also preparing for that breath by exhaling, making sure that you're exhaled as you're before moving into it. So it's catch, it's breath, it's neck turn of the breath. One more example showing how fast it can be, how low it can be. And yeah, what you see here, this is regular speed. He's not breathing again, same thing. He's not breathing on the first stroke, but breathing on every other stroke. And yeah, it's so fast. It obviously does not disrupt the rhythm and tempo of his arms. Especially if you're sprinting, and you can watch your athletes and you might see them do a 50 freestyle, and when they take that one or 2 breaths or 3 breaths in a 50 freestyle, how much slower it slows down their rhythm. And that's what you're trying to avoid. How do you make the breath fit in instead of how do you slow down? How does the tempo slow down so that you are able to breathe? So slowing this down, just taking a look at the timing of it. It is, head snaps. It snaps into the breath, and then most importantly, it snaps out of the breath. It closes the breath. And so it isn't a body turn to get the breath. It is a turn of the neck. At a slower rhythm, here's what it looks like. Again, it's turning the head back with the catch of that opposite arm. And so, almost turning the head back so that you can see the catch. You're turning the head back before the right arm is entering. If you're breathing to the right, like this athlete is, you are turning the head back before that hand enters. So I said we're going to talk about numbers, and I also said we're moving through this pretty fast. So, let's look at some numbers. And, not everyone coaches to numbers, and I get that. I would say, these are just, some different parameters. What I want to highlight through this, so this is, kick counts, stroke counts, and tempos. And this tempos is seconds per cycle. So how many seconds it takes for 2 arm strokes. Basically going from, right entry to right entry, or left entry to left entry, how long it takes. I have in green on the far right, I have in green the fastest average tempo for that 25. And then I have for those 8 strokes. And then I have in red the slowest average tempo for, your high school events, your high school range from 50 to 500. And so 0.95 to 1.5. That is your relevant range of tempos racing tempos that you are looking at. And so, whether it's a 0.95, so less than a second for 2 arm strokes, so less than half a second for 1 arm stroke, or 1.5, then that's essentially the range in which you are training an athlete to be optimally racing at, to be able to try to sustain. It's the range of tempos that you're trying to fit a breath in. And so, not everyone, like I said, is coaching to numbers, but I do think, there are some people, and I'm aware of high school coaches that definitely do as well. I'm not as much of a stroke count person because your stroke count from individual to individual will change based on how many kicks they're taking. You have someone who's a really great kicker, they're going to kick a lot further and their stroke count's going to be less. So like trying to apply universal stroke count to everybody is a little bit challenging based on, how much they're using their underwaters. So that's the men, this is the women. Yeah, I'm just looking from, across the differences. I mean, we're looking at the range. The top end tempo is just slightly slower. So we're looking at 0.96 and 0.95. And then on the women's side, you're looking at the slowest tempo being a little bit faster. So that range being a little bit tighter on the women's side. The women's 500, the slowest tempo is faster than the men's 500. But I guess the other thing that I would say here is that I draw from this is that your slowest tempos, whether it's the men or the women, in the 500, it's in the middle. It's in the second 100. So this is by length. So it's basically the 175 and 200 of the women's race is the slowest 500 tempo. And then you're getting faster from there, from the 300 to 400 to the 500, 100. Whoops. And then on the men's, it's the same thing. The slowest tempo is the 200 length, the 8th length. And then you're getting faster. The tempo should be building up until the last 25. You can look at the same patterns. In the 200, the slowest tempo is the 4th 25. And on the women's side, the slowest tempo is the 3rd 25. So you're looking at the second 50 containing the slowest tempo for the 200, the second 100 having the slowest tempo for the 500. Anyway, so moving on to backstroke. And optimal, quickest thing to address, the highest priority item to address is the catch. And this is, looking at a stroke where, immediately the fingers are curling to the side after entry. And this is consistent across all of the best backstrokers. And I'm going to show you, actually it's at the end, but I kind of want to show it now. But I'm going to wait till the end of backstroke to show how it contrasts to, I would say, very good high school swimmers in the US. And, not necessarily the elite high schoolers in the US, but very good. But ultimately, wanting to see that your hands immediately after entry are curling to the side, your fingers are curling to the side, and your fingers are not pushing and pointing down. Your palms are not pointing and pushing down. You are, changing direction. Your hands are entering over the shoulder, or, your hands are entering the water, and you're obviously swinging it over your head, but then not following that through downward. You're entering and changing direction. And I think that is, I would say it has to be a very intentional action that you're trying to do. And so, what does this look like? These are some elite backstrokers. And these are the positions that I'm looking for in a stroke. And obviously, and I should say this about everything that I'm showing here, like I'm showing underwater video. And I don't expect everyone to be coaching from underwater video or using it. But I would say, these are more so that you have some cues and you maybe can refine some of your wording and how you communicate and how you teach with your athletes, to try to, put into good words or the best words when you're teaching your high schoolers. And so, what I'm starting with is very early catch formation. And I mentioned this already, in that I want to see immediately after entry, the fingers curl to the side. At this point, like immediately after entry, fingers curl to the side, your body's almost fully rotated to that side already. So you basically, your rotation should almost be finished as soon as you start moving your hand. And we'll come back to that. But I'm looking for more shallow. The hand is more shallow than the shoulder at this point. You're not pushing down. And then, what I notice, especially around the best athletes, is there are less bubbles around the hand at this point. And the reason that is able to happen, I do think, like when you follow through, when you just smash your hand into the water and follow through down, you're going to carry a lot of air. When you change direction, there's I would say a little bit of time where the bubbles can dissipate off your hand. Moving from there to, I would say middle catch alignment, mid catch alignment. So you're moving through, you're continuing that hand position where your fingers are curled to the side and your hands are now, your elbow's bending. And your hand should be more shallow than the elbow. Obviously, we see these two athletes at the bottom where the hand is more in line with the elbow. But I would say, we're still looking at hand to the side. We still have these two athletes, these women at the bottom that the hands are a little bit deeper. But it's, hands to the side is what you're looking for. And ultimately, though, the thing you definitely don't want is your arm reaching behind your back. And I see that so much. And so, if you start it at that early catch formation, that fingers curling to the side so early, you just have a much better chance of not reaching behind you in general. I showed maximum rotation for freestyle. It's basically the same for backstroke, 25, 35 degrees. And then so from this position, middle of the catch, I'm setting up the finish. And your hand is getting more narrow and shallow. Looking at an elbow bend of about 90 degrees. So this is like the middle of the stroke as your hand. So you're entering, fingers curled to the side, starting this catch position, elbows deeper than the hand. You're coming to where your hand is about where your waist is, and your hand, waist and hips. Your hand is getting more shallow at this point. The most shallow through the stroke besides the early catch formation. And then what it's setting up is this shallow position of the hand. What it's setting up is this deep finish. So the top of the finish, the bottom of the finish. And this is probably the most elusive part. I love this action, and I think it's so important because you look at the rotation here. So just look at the shoulders from this point to this point. We're looking at, and yes, the opposite hand is entering, but we're looking at the hand go down and the shoulder go up, the left shoulder go up. So shoulders down, you're about to start to finish, shoulders up. Shoulder and hips are rotating just in this small action right here. And you know what? You get to this position and you're ready for the next catch. It is counterintuitive. I think it is not natural for people to think about this finish action being important to sprinting and to backstroke, but this action right here is everything to being able to have the best catch. And I want to see, people rotating off of that hand, off that finish hand. So what I see here is, the hand is deeper than the hips. And I draw a line kind of at the bottom of everybody's hips here. It is wider than the shoulder as well. So it's deeper than the hips, wider than the shoulder. And this getting to this position is ultimately where you want to be. I would say, there's probably two actions happening. There's the catch and pull, the start of it, and then there's the finish. And I would say, this finish, it's helping you get to the next catch and pull. Because you have to get to that other side. You have to be able to get good tempo. Let's look at, I would say I mentioned, I want to show compared to really good high school athletes. And this is at a very established, good club team in Atlanta. And these kids are being taught really well. They're being coached really well. And you just look at, I would say what I see is the direction of the fingers. And on top we have the athletes that I was showing just before. And on bottom we have just an array of high school age athletes. And you see the differences in the fingers, just even that initial movement. And so I do think this is a awesome point of emphasis. some big opportunity, and it could be pretty subtle. Some of these kids are pretty good, but many of them, yeah, I would say instead you see what most of the time that action is happening, what it is. And then let's look at the bottom of the stroke. So differences in the finish now. And so, yeah, I don't necessarily have these lined up vertically in terms of, the shoulders of the top athlete and the shoulder of the bottom athlete. But what I see on the bottom, like we saw, like I did still frames of the athletes at the top. We saw it's wider than the shoulder, deeper than the hips. And yeah, just looking at it, your typical high school age athlete, even your good ones, are probably going to be finishing too narrow and or finishing too shallow. And therefore not able to rotate well off of it. And you could see, just check out the rotations of these athletes. And some of these might be rotating, their shoulders might be rotated because they are driving that hand in. And again, like driving the hand in with the fingers pointing down. So like driving that hand in with opportunity in that, because that's the only way that they can rotate to that side if they're not able to use that finish. So I know that that's a little bit convoluted. There's, so much interconnected actions happening here. But I do think, yeah, this, I would say is something to unlock. If I were to focus on one thing, it would be the catch. If I have the bandwidth and your athletes have the bandwidth to focus on two things, yeah, obviously you see what my two things are. And so, yeah, backstroke catch at race tempo, I would say not speeding up tempo by spinning the recovery, which is what everyone wants to do. Everyone wants to just jam the recovery and jam into the entry with the hand going down. What I do want to see in terms of getting backstroke tempo, which is, I would say, directly equated to speed in backstroke, is by rotating off that downward finish. That is ultimately what I want to do and what I want to see happening most effectively. But I would start with the catch. And then how do you preserve that catch with tempo? How do you preserve that catch when someone is trying to spin the hands? And doing that as best as you can. And obviously, yeah, the best aid for that would be in using the finish action. Now let's look at backstroke tempos and backstroke data. So obviously we have more kicks. I think for freestyle, we were looking at 4 to 6 kicks off the starts and turns. And now we're looking at 7 to 10, 7 to 12. The women are kicking a little bit more off the starts. And you can see that. And a lot of that is just, to get to 15, the men's kicks just hold a little bit more water. And so, to get to 15 off the starts and maybe off the first turn, the women are kicking a little bit tighter tempo, a little bit faster tempo, a little bit more kicks. So you end up kicking out. If you are a good kicker, you end up kicking more than 50% of the race, distance-wise. But then looking at tempo range. And you know what? It's basically the same at men and women. 1.13, so 1.1 seconds per 2 arm strokes, up to 1.45. And so, you're looking at that range. And, I talk about tempo and sustainability. So it's top end and sustainability. You look at the men being 1.1, 1.2, 1.2, and the women 1.2, 1.2, 1.2. You're trying to also have the fastest tempo that you can reasonably hold, especially in backstroke. It's similar patterns for 200 backstroke as we see 200 freestyle. And, when I talk about tempos, you could also talk about how you strategize. You can, I would say, substitute that for how you strategize your race. So looking at a 200, just looking at how the tempo pattern goes by 25. On the men, the third 25 on average is the slowest tempo, and then the tempo builds from there. So you can substitute tempo for effort and how you want to think about it. And so, on the women's side, it's similar. The middle of the race tempo is with the slowest. And so, again, being able to build the effort and build the tempo and build the speed on your last 200, on your last 100 and the last 425. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going easy in your middle 75 or middle 50. It just means that, yeah, obviously you're regulating it and you're not maxing out your speed in the middle of it. And you're definitely not getting slower on the tempo if you want to have the optimal backstroke race. All right, moving on to fly. I would say, yeah, 3 common mistakes with fly. I would say it is tempoing with the arms. And yeah, people just trying to spin the arms. And what I see is, yeah, the hands smashing together. I also see, yeah, with the hands smashing together, with somebody just trying to spin the arms. Yeah, the body is pressing, your arms are entering, and then the body presses forward. So there's no syncing, there's no coordination, and there's no, yeah, synchronicity between the body press and the hand entry. And, I talk about, yeah, in backstroke, like wanting to see not just that entry and that rotation happen because of the hand. I want to see because the hand entry, the entry, finish, and the body at the same time. So I'm looking for this connection between your body and your arms and what they're doing. And so, yeah, tempoing with the arms. I see people tempoing with the head. And with that, I see, people really smashing the head down and diving with the head. And then I also see, yeah, with people doing sprint fly, people just burying the head on non-breathing strokes, which I am all about non-breathing strokes, but I do think there is a little bit more specific way that we can do it more properly. So yeah, we're looking at a flatter stroke. The head, shoulders, chest are pressing forward and pressing forward together. And so, yeah, it's not so flat where you don't see the hips popping. You're still pressing and you're still getting this surge forward. It's just everything's moving forward together and you're not diving down. So trying to be flatter and forward in this press as you're moving through. And then, yeah, I still want to see the head get back in the water. If you're taking a breath, I still want to see the head get back in the water before the hands are entering. I just don't want to see your head go deeper than the shoulders and your arms. And then on non-breathing strokes, I want to see the head rising on non-breathing strokes. So yeah, this is looking at these 2 positions, the entry and the extension. And so yeah, good fly, just kind of moving through different positions. The entry, kicking the hands forward, what the press looks like. And yeah, you might look at this and say, oh, there's good press. I would say this is an appropriate amount of press and way flatter than what I see most people doing. But yeah, I think most of us would look at this and say, yeah, this is great fly. But this is, I would say, this is elite fly and not typical to most athletes. Just at a team in California, where I took video of almost 100 athletes of every stroke, and basically took a survey of what they're doing. And I think 15 of these 100 athletes, and this is all ages. So, well, all ages, I would say ranging from 9 to 16. And we're looking at 15% of them had good head position. And yeah, this is a team that has developed national teamers, Olympians. And so, yeah, when I say that this is elite stroke and not necessarily all stroke, I really mean that. So, yeah, this is another example, flatter stroke. Look at that head position. This is an appropriate amount of press. And look at where the head is. It is in between the arms, not in front of the arms. You still have 2 kicks. You still have a good amount of press, but you're not doing that by diving the head in front of the arms. Your head and body are moving forward together. And yeah, I do a lot of work in addition to NISCA, in addition to working with Summer and Reagan. I do a lot of work with World Aquatics around the world, and I get to see a lot of different athletes in different swimming. And yeah, this dude right here, this is, I would say, an extreme example of somebody diving the head down. But this is how people envision the stroke in fly. They think about big undulation. This guy's living it right here. He's living that big undulation because that's how we have always talked about it. And yeah, he's diving the head down. And yeah, you see the strain on the back position. You see the strain on the, yeah, just on where, like how difficult it would be to get up into the next stroke. Let's contrast this with elites. And I would say most of your high school age athletes are looking like more like that World Aquatics athlete than they are like these athletes right here. And again, a lot of it's with head position, head between the arms, and how do you get that press without smashing your head and diving your head down to the bottom of the pool. And that's what everyone is relying on. I would say your high school age athletes, they should have, if not already a developed core, they should be developing their core. And basically you're getting your head in line with your body, and then you're connecting your head to your core and basically pressing forward like a crunch position. Like you're doing a crunch on land. That's what this press should be. And so, yeah, I would say it's just not leading it with the head, which is very, I would say, 10 and under quality, which is totally fine for a 10 and under because they don't have core developed. But for a high school age athlete, we should be talking about, yeah, I would say locking the head in place and pressing and not tucking the chin and diving the forehead down. Different examples. Yeah, again, the head press. This is top 3 finisher at NC2A's 100 fly. Awesome short course flyer, swimming and underwaters, but obviously we're just looking at her swimming. And yeah, pressing forward. Let's slow this down. See how deep the head is going, or how not deep the head is going. And that the head is not pressing in front of the arms. That the ears are staying mostly between the shoulders as she's moving through this. It is subtle. The difference is subtle. This athlete on the left is NC2A and World Elite, and the athlete on the right has opportunity. And like the athlete on the right is still pretty good, but yeah, I mean, if I were to pause it, let's pause on the next stroke, just how subtly different the head position is, or the head press is. You have the hands are high for both these athletes. The athlete on the right, their head is definitely deeper than the hands. The shoulders are therefore deeper than the hands. And then the top part of the stroke, the catch of the stroke is going to be compromised because he has to wait for to be in the most powerful, strongest position. The head has to rise into line with the arms and the shoulders before being able to move into the catch. So yeah, it is subtle, but it is very meaningful and impactful what we're trying to do here. These are just more examples. More of the same, just on the women's side. The flatter, the head position as you're moving through, and that press. Again, it is probably way more shallow than what you think it is and what your athletes are probably doing. And I do think, yeah, the cue that I'm using is shoulders between, or ears between the shoulders. I mentioned non-breathing strokes, and a big part of sprint fly is not breathing. And I want to see non-breathing strokes where the head is still rising. I don't want to see the head fully buried underneath the surface. I actually think that it slows down tempo if you bury your head. I would say, decreases the effectiveness of the press forward as you're doing that too. And so, yeah, I would say, like, I want the head to be a little bit above the surface, because then you could use the press action that I'm talking about. If you have your head buried, you're not able to leverage the head in the press forward. So, yeah, trying to have, I would say when I'm talking non-breathing strokes, I'm talking face in the water and not whole head in the water. So you could say, yeah, non-breathing, face, your base of your face in the water strokes. Let's look at fly tempos. And it's a little bit different here. The range is a lot more narrow of effective fly. On the men's side, you touch 1.2 at the slowest. It's the slowest. It's the fastest of the slow tempos of all the strokes. 1.2 down to 1.0 basically. So your sprint fly is 1 second per stroke, and your distance fly, and obviously we're not doing 200 in high school, but yeah, I would say like in terms of training even, you definitely don't want to get slower than 1.2. And what does that mean? I guess just slow fly is not relevant fly. It's not relevant to racing. Obviously, you're going to end up with a lot more mistakes too. And so, yeah, if we're talking 100 fly or 50 fly, everything is close to 1 second per cycle. And that is what you should be training for. And then, yeah, obviously looking at the kick counts, similar to what you see on the backstroke kick counts, you're looking, 6 to 10, depending, where you are in the race. Obviously, these are, I'm building kick counts after I'm building technique. So, yeah, obviously, if you're working with athletes that don't have great kicks, then you want to build the technique and then build the kick counts up to where we're looking at this 9 or 10 range. Okay, breaststroke. Close out with this. This time has gone by really fast, so I'm going to stick to it because I know we have giveaways, we have lunch, we have all that stuff. So I'm going to start with the numbers actually, because I do think, the numbers are, I would say very, very relevant. Obviously for high school, we're looking at just 100 only. But I do think, what we're looking at is, unlike the other 3 strokes, and this is why I want to show this first, your fastest tempo is at the end of the race. And this is unlike the other strokes, I would say, because in the other stroke, your fast tempo is at the beginning of the race, the first 25 of a 50, the first 25 of 100, and then, trying to sustain. For breaststroke, you're trying to build. You're trying to build your last 325s. We're talking 100. You're trying to build your last 325s of 100 in terms of tempo. You look at the men going 1.1 to 1.07 to 1.05. The women are 1.2, 1.2, 1.17. So a little bit slower, but still the fastest tempo is the last 25. So breaststroke speed is about having breaststroke tempo, and it's about having breaststroke tempo when you are most tired in the 100. And so what is breaststroke speed and tempo? How do you get there? It is when you're most tired in 100, you are trying to get tempo, and you're trying to technically do that by fast heels. Everyone will think about pulling harder, which I say don't do. You're not trying to pull faster or harder to get speed in breaststroke. You are trying to set up your heels, snap your heels up. So it's counterintuitive, because everyone will think about pulling more or kicking harder, but I want to see people speed up their feet on the setup. And obviously you're gliding less. I think that one's obvious. You're not going to be holding your stroke and holding your length. You're going to be pulling faster in terms of not gliding, but not faster in terms of speeding up your hands through the motion. And you're going to set up your heels. We all know breaststroke is all about timing. And the best timing, the only way to make it the optimal timing happen in breaststroke is if you're going to glide less with your hands, your feet need to be able to keep up with that, need to be able to adjust accordingly. And everyone will, I would say try to set up your kick earlier. But the biggest place where you can make up time in breaststroke kick is how quickly you snap your heels up. So it is hamstrings. When I was swimming breaststroke, I tried to swim breaststroke at UVA. we get to the meet time and my hamstrings would be crushing me because of how quickly I'm snapping it up. And it's hard because, you need to be able to train an athlete to do that in regular season too. So it's having that speed, working hamstrings, working that setup. I would say in training, thinking about this, like if you want the most tempo when you're most tired, how does that apply when you think about training? When you're doing a breaststroke set, your last reps should be, I don't want to say your spinniest, but it should be your highest tempo. Technically, they should be thinking about these things. All right, breaststroke pull. I want to see circles with the hands. I want to see a stroke that continuously leans forward. And then, so circles with the hands. I want to see leaning forward at the top of the stroke, not arching up, not getting vertical at all. And then I want to see, all of that culminate into striking forward into your line. Not just hands, but hands and body. So this guy is the Olympic gold medalist, reigning Olympic gold medalist in the 100. He's awesome in the 52, 50 as well. And you see the circles with the hands. This guy's a sprinter. And, it alternates between regular speed and slow motion. And circles with the hands. And then what I see with the kick, it's not necessarily narrow kick as much as, I would say kind of whipping the feet up and down, in and out, heels up, heels back. And so, what I'm looking at, my cues with the breaststroke kick are snapping the heels up for tempo, pushing back with the feet. And I do want to see the hips up and the feet down. And so, just looking at this guy kicking through. And on the top, he's swimming. You can see the pull happening. On the bottom, he's doing bodyline kick. And just looking at the kick action and where the feet are extending, they're not just extending back, but they're extending down as well. I talked about circles with the hands, making that shape with the hands, and with the feet, I'm looking at a downward extension, basically making the shape of a U underwater. The feet are tracing the shape of a U. I know that I didn't say as much about breaststroke as the other strokes. Let me just quickly, I would say there's a couple things. One is I will send the slides and the notes to Eve and Kevin, and they could pass it on to you guys as PDFs. The other thing I'd say is I'm going to show this. I might show a couple frames of dolphin kick in a minute or two. But I would say so I'll send the PDFs of the notes. It won't have the videos in it. It's just obviously it being such a video dense presentation makes it pretty hard to also transfer that. But I built a video library for ASCA. Obviously, I know there's so many places you can spend your money. Obviously, want you to support NISCA. Would love support of ASCA. But also, with ASCA, you get a great benefit with your membership, which is access to the video library, which is basically most, if not all, of the videos that I showed here today are in there. Through the weekend, through the week, you'll get a 10% discount code with NISCA 10. Through your membership, you get access to the library. You get access to different talks. You get access to all that data. Obviously, I'm going to send the PDFs of that data that I just showed you, but there's more data on the website as well. So of course, I'm going to pump what the organization that I represent and that has supported me throughout. With Dolphin Kick, real quick, before I really wrap it up, I will say that what I'm looking for position-wise is, what is the one video that I would show? It is probably, let's just go with, you know what, I'm going to go here. So looking at these images right here, 4 different athletes, what I would consider the key position, 2 key positions for dolphin kick. And in your mind, which one do you think is the kick that you're looking for? The best kicking technique. You're looking at athletes that have different amount of knee bend, different, how the heels are coming up, how far the heels are coming up, and then you have different hip movement and you have different feet movement. Like how far the feet are finishing forward, how much the hips are moving up. Which of these athletes, of these 4 athletes, top to bottom, do you think is the best technique? And yeah, I'm not going to put anyone on blast, so you could just mentally. Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? The answer is number 2. I want to see the knees come in front of the body. I want to see the heels not lifting behind the body on the setup. And then on the extension, I want to see the feet finishing in front of the body. And I don't want to see the hips popping as much that you see on athlete number 4. On the bottom athlete, the pink suit, the hips are moving so much more. And I don't want to see that. I want to see the feet moving more than the hips. That is in line with all the best athletes. So on the top, we have Claire Curzan, obviously an athlete that many people know. Tori Husk on the bottom. And look at that technique. Look at the knee and the feet position and the hips on Claire and Tori. It is, and on the right side, you have the feet finishing deeper or more in front of the body for Claire, the 3rd athlete, and Tori. And you have the feet moving way more in front than you have the hips moving back. And that's what you're looking for in dolphin kick. The feet moving water in front of the body, finishing in front of the body, the heels not lifting up behind the body. And I'm going to finish with that. We have the giveaways now. Obviously we have the pool session in an hour and a half, and we will see you over there. But yeah, we'll turn it back over to Kevin to facilitate the giveaways and talk about logistics about the pool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We go, Eve. Actually, what we were going to do before was, if you are driving to the pool, which is about 15 minutes away, could you just stand up? Some people who need rides could maybe bum a ride off you. So if you're going to drive, you got room to take an extra car or extra person. So if you're going to the pool and it can take somebody, you should stand. Now, people who are sitting, find someone who's standing and try to get a ride. Okay? Use your comments for my freshman girls in August. They can't socialize to get that ride, so make sure you find someone to get a ride, okay?
About a 15-minute drive, so you'll probably want to plan on meeting in the lobby about between 1 and 1:15. Organized. And I will plan on in the lobby at 1, so I can take 4 of you.
No, I need a ride.
Oh, you need it. Russell needs a ride too. Yeah.
What do we Google the address?
Yeah, it's the Northview Community Aquatic Center, I believe it is, or Northview High School.
Northview High School.
In the front, the back, the left?
It's in the back. So as you're going down Huntsberger Road, which is the road the school's on, it is the first driveway before you get to the building itself, and it takes you around the back, and then there's a big athletic entrance. So it's pretty easy to find. Google does a pretty good job. No, I don't have it up.
So first will be for the IST award prize. Oh, geez, Louise, this guy can't win. Mark Jetto. The IST. Gotta get a picture with him.
Alright, okay, so now we're gonna do for the slip fins. So these are from Denise. These are brand new. They were released this week. You will be the first coach to have them. They wanted these giveaways a set. You had a small, medium, large, or medium, large, extra large, I don't remember what they said. So you'll have 3 different sizes. One person is gonna win all 3. They are a silicone fin without heel cups or straps. So like you're gonna put them in the water, you slip your foot into them, and you wrap around your foot, like I've been doing yoga, and then you squeeze the water out and they just stick to your foot. Apparently. I have not gotten to try these. I'm really hoping that whoever wins them will bring them to the pool so we can watch an athlete like put them on and try them. So that would
We
be
did,
fantastic.
when we were at Central States, we did see, he had videos of it.
Get videos.
He had videos of it, so.
It looks really cool. And they're soft and they're not supposed to rub. So.
He's got their fingers crossed. What's the retail value of these, do you know?
Oh, gosh, I didn't ask about that. Right? 70 new pairs. So you're looking at $210 for the pins right there.
All right, here we go. And
You
the,
do have to be here, so hopefully you're here.
and the winner is Andrew Murray from St. John's High School.
Alright, so we got more NISCA swag maybe here?
Yeah, just let's do like 2 or 3 more.
I think there's some Denise suits over there too. They're new tech suit from last year and a couple of practice suits in packages. Okay.
I just saw him leave, Brad Jones. That's what you get, being from Michigan, and you just walk out of the room. Mark Rodhurst. Rodhurst. You didn't put his last name on there, because I know that's not his last name. Ross. It says Ross Hudson, Hudson High School.
No, it says Ross Hudson High School.
That's Ross.
I'm just Hudson.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna break for lunch. Some things to note before we go. Number 1, when you come for the banquet, so we're gonna do the hotel happy hour. So if you are staying here in the hotel, you've got a ticket, so you get 2 free drinks from the hotel. If you're not staying in the hotel, you're still welcome to join us. You just have to pay for your drinks. And then dinner will be in this room at 6:30 p.m. I'll open it up maybe a little earlier once they have the tables all set, so you can come in and take your seats. They will have salads on the table. Entrees will be served at 6:45. Dessert will be served at like 7:05. We will be going through the presentations. We will be done and out of here by 8 o'clock because town runs a great awards banquet. You do need to bring the colored ticket placard thing that was in your registration envelope. So hopefully everybody still knows where those are and you didn't throw them away. You'll set that at your place, that'll be both a placeholder, and then the waiters will know what meal to bring you. I think that's it. Oh, and then tomorrow morning, just in case I have a chance to see all of you, the one presentation we're doing tomorrow is like a coach's panel, it's like round table, ask your questions. That's gonna be upstairs in Haldane. So there's stairs or elevators straight back through that way. It's up on the 3rd floor. Also, if you're on the 3rd floor, like in the hotel where the rooms are, you can actually come straight down and through that glass door, and Haldane is right there at the landing. So hopefully we'll have a great time tonight, and you won't have to get up too extra early tomorrow because I think it starts at 9. All right, have a great lunch. Make sure you find a ride and get that organized.
I'm supposed to get a picture of Peter's plaque.
Oh, sure.
Oh,